Colson, you get a seal of approval for blasting out 2 episodes in a short amount of time.
Appreciate that.
In the middle of the apocalypse,
right?
With no running water.
Well, once we got the internet back, it became easier.
I just didn't realize that you could podcast without water. That's one thing I thought you needed.
Sure.
But apparently not.
There's a reason they call it potable water.
Potable. Oh my goodness, this guy.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, or semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is October 20th, 2024, and this is episode 722. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we are concluding our preseason preparation podcast, and we're going to just dig deep into the Pacers and go over what we think they're going to do this season. Joining me this show are all 3 of our analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? Shout out to the New York Liberty and or Minnesota Lynx, who are playing in Game 5 of the WNBA Finals tonight. And one of them will be crowned champion. Very exciting.
Shout out from Asheville, North Carolina. He's our in-house bartender mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles. And he's ready to give him the old Furphy. John Colson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? I'm actually potting from the future right now. And I know that the New York Liberty have won the WNBA title.
Amazing.
And how do you feel about it?
I'm very excited for
that team.
For them.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm sure it was amazing.
I mean, if you listen to this in time, you can gamble on this and win a bunch of money.
Well, good luck with that. From Tacoma, Washington out west, it's our enforcer, who I never forget, John Harper.
What's going on, fellas? Yeah, ready to talk some Pacers. Love it.
Yeah. The preseason is over, and we are ready to get running into this regular season. But before we get into the show, we just want to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest running Pacers podcast, financially by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables. And you can support our show for as little as $1 every month. All right, team. As we mentioned at the top, the preseason's ended and regular season starting. I am booked to. I'm going to be at the home opener next Sunday.
Nice.
With my boy, who's going to be there to witness. You know, home openers are crazy. So, and there's some good expectations around this team in particular. You know, this year, and I think it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild in there. Indiana's been blessed with some good basketball. I mean, for a very long time, but in particular these last couple of years, the Pacers are very exciting. the Fever are turning their franchise, back in the right direction and have an exciting team. And really, it's almost 365 days of good basketball that we got going on right now. So Pacers jumping into the season here very soon. Last season made it, surprising many people getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, losing to the eventual champions, Boston Celtics. But I think this season people are coming in fresh. There were a lot of questions answered around contracts, and we've talked about some of these, but some of the big contracts are all settled right now. This season for sure, we've got a couple in the future, in the next year or two that are going to come up. But this season, we know what we've got. For the most part, we do have one open roster spot. But I think we want to start looking at the starting five. I guess, do we know who the starting five are this year? We've got, I think, a lot of players that it could be, with Mathurin coming back from injury. Do we know what it's going to look like day one?
Well, yeah, I don't think you'd waver from a starting lineup that got you to a Eastern Conference Finals. So, and if the Pacers played 4 preseason games, the most recent, the last one was against the Hornets this past Thursday, which was sort of a dress rehearsal. So everybody that was available played, and they rolled out the starting lineup of Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, and Turner, which I imagine is hopefully what it will be, I think, for the duration, which I think is good. The continuity is awesome. I think Nembhard really solidified his spot last year in that starting rotation, especially in the playoffs. I mean, he was killer.
Yeah, I mean, he hit one of the biggest shots in franchise history, and then also, after Halliburton goes down, steadies the ship and plays a really good series against Boston, even though it got swept.
Yeah, I think you're right. Nembhard, he's one of those guys. I was just happy to see him out there. I felt comfortable, when he's so calm and collected. Just when he's on the ball, he just doesn't get rattled, and that's great to see from such a young player. And I think he did earn his spot. And none of these things are written in stone. Carlisle certainly is happy to move things around if things aren't working. So
I agreed, but I think one of the things it does by having Nembhard in the backcourt is that we have another secondary ball handler, secondary passer. He's a good defender, and it allows T.J. McConnell to be the backup point guard instead of Nembhard. I mean, it sort of makes that whole guard rotation make more sense if he's in the starting lineup. So I think, outside of injury, we'll probably be going with that.
McConnell's one of the ones that was settled, or the contract was settled over the summer. So we're bringing him back, which is very exciting for. He got a lot of exposure and a lot of good press during the playoffs, rightfully so. And I mean, it's not like he was playing a whole lot different than he was during the season, but there's a lot more eyes on those games. And yeah, if he gets to be the guy running that bench squad, then I mean, I think that's something that's really helped our team be successful, especially this last season.
Yeah, arguably been the best backup point guard in the league. In the last 2 years, the Pacers have led the NBA in bench scoring with 2 years ago 43.8 a game, and then last year up to 46.8 a game.
Wow.
With Benny Mathurin maybe in a position to score 20 points a game, and Jarris Walker coming around. I mean, our bench might be a 50-point a game bench this season. These guys are incredibly good.
Where do you guys see Mathurin and Walker? I think those are the two that I'm. Mathurin spent a lot of season hurt, and Walker, it was his rookie season last year. Where do you guys see them in the rotation, or at least at the beginning?
Well, I think last year Matherin really settled into that scorer off the bench role and did that quite well. I think he averaged something like 14, but really was upwards of 15 or 16 before he tore his labrum or whatever. So I think he's slots solidly in there. It'll be interesting to see how he grows this year. Like he kind of had a rough time last year, and it will be interesting to see how he responds to coming back, not only from injury, but like sort of has he added things to his game. And then Jarris Walker, yeah, that's a super good question. So the Matherin returning basically takes minutes away from Ben Shepherd, or you could imagine that the Pacers go small and play both of those guys together. I'm sure some of it will be matchup dependent, but Walker has showed relatively well in preseason, and he's got the size and creativity to really add another dimension to that bench unit that could be really interesting. So I'm sure he's going to get more minutes than he did last year. And yeah, hopefully can show something with those.
You kind of slot him in. He's a big 3 or 4, right? I mean, he can play both positions. I think he was even getting some backup center minutes his rookie year, trying to find him some space. You're right. If Matherin is slotted in at the 2 guard, Shepard's losing spots. If they slot him in at the 3 with Shepard at the 2, is Walker going to take some of Toppin's minutes? Is he going to take some of Isaiah Jackson's minutes?
Potentially.
Yeah. Because I think, Shepard proved himself last year as a rookie, playing deep into the playoffs for us. I mean, he near the end, I don't think he saw much minutes near the end, but we got him some real burn, some real seasoning. I can't imagine he's gonna just disappear. So I would think that, if Walker's gonna take it from anybody, it's probably gonna be Jackson, right?
Maybe, or maybe even Halliburton and Siakam. I mean, there are potentially a lot of games this year where we can maybe get our guys off the court a little bit early, which would be great. Pascal Siakam has got a long track record of playing a lot of games every season and playing a lot of minutes. So you expect him to be healthy, but Halliburton, you feel like at the very least you need to pace him a little bit. So, getting a lot out of our bench, which we know can play, it could be big for us late in the season. As we saw, Halliburton definitely looked a little worn down in the last quarter of the season, and the numbers back that up. So,
yeah, battling injury much of the second half of the season. I think it'll be completely matchup dependent. I think there are going to be games when we'll go super small and basically have Toppin at the 5 in the second unit.
Yeah, Walker at the 4.
Yeah, and there will be other games where we have Jackson or Wiseman, at the 5 in that second unit. If we need size and rebounding or whatever. There's so much to like about this team, and that's one of the wonderful things is the flexibility that Carlisle has at his disposal, in both the starting lineup and the bench and everything in between. You know what I mean? He got a lot of chances to play around with things, especially with that deep playoff run, and see who he really trusted. And like you said, Colson, one of the guys that I think earned trust was Isaiah Jackson. He was not afraid of the moment. And,
right.
You want to reward that as a coach.
Sure, but then we go ahead and pick up, James Wiseman. It was a former number 1 pick in the NBA. A project for us. You can imagine want to try to give him some minutes as well. It's a lot of toys to play with here.
Yeah, Wiseman is definitely in a position where he's going to have to earn everything he's got with the kind of continuity that we have.
Yeah.
And how well our bench has played, right? I mean, sure, Carlisle has all sorts of toys and he's going to have a lot of fun with it, but we've also got a bench that's so good there just aren't a lot of teams out there whose second unit are going to be able to play with us no matter what we tried out there, right? We can go small and beat teams. We can go big and beat teams. Our depth is just better than most NBA teams.
I mean, our second unit is a better starting lineup than like 5 NBA teams.
I mean, it's possible that Mathurin could lead this team in scoring, for the season. In fact, that's my bold prediction.
Ooh.
That Benedict Mathurin's going to lead the Pacers in scoring this year off the bench.
So he's going to be dropping 20.
Yep, 20 a game
plus, and that's going to lead us 20.
Yeah, because we're going to get like 19 and 18 from Siakam and from Halliburton. We just have so much depth, and I think Mathurin's going to give you 20, 21, 22, something like that.
So that would be the least points that Siakam had scored since 18-19. Is he going to be happy at 19 points a game?
He just signed a new contract, right?
Yeah,
he's okay.
I mean, if the team's winning, I think he's okay. I mean, if we start going on a losing streak, he might start asking for more minutes.
If we're on a losing streak and Benedict Mather is our leading scorer, we're going to change some stuff pretty quick.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think we're going to have a conversation with Rick Carlisle to correct that.
So Siakam what did he score last year? Like 24?
He scored 21.3 for us.
Okay.
And he was scoring more than that for Toronto. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
22.
Okay.
Basically for Toronto. So.
I'll keep him at 21 then, and Mathurin will be 22. How about that?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're predicting what is that? It's a 6-point jump in production from Mathurin?
Well, I mean, we started him last year, and he struggled with, the role of, playing defense and passing the ball and stuff. As a rookie, we just put him in that scoring position in that second unit, and he, really shined. I think if we put him back in his comfort zone, I think, with what he's learned from last year, his game is rounding out. I just don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean, he was so unafraid as a rookie, and he learned a bunch of stuff in a down year last year. I don't understand how he's not going to put this together and just be a real impact player.
Yeah, I mean, the big question mark for him, if he's going to be a 20-point-a-game scorer for us, is going to be that shooting from the perimeter. He's shown flashes of improvement there. He's been working on it. So if he's shooting anywhere near 40% from three-point land, he's going to make a run at he might just make a run at MIP this year, having not gotten a lot of games in last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's that he definitely had an uptick. He went from 32 to 37% from the range last year. The biggest thing for him is getting to the line. I mean, he went from going to the line 6 times a game to 4 times a game, and right. He's a really good free throw shooter. So, if he can figure out how to make his way back to the line, which may be a challenge in this NBA, right? I mean, like, one of the big things that we're going to see this year is officiating much more akin to what it was the second half of the season than it was the first half of the season. So you've already seen it in preseason that the refs are letting these guys play. There's a lot of contact that's going. And, guys are going to adjust to that, of course, but I think that means that, you're not going to get the friendly whistle.
That may be a good thing for us on the defensive side of the ball, as we led the league in and fouls committed last year, I think. So one of the many areas that we can improve on defensively, we were kind of, I think, 24th or 25th in defensive efficiency. We're down there in rebounding. If we can improve and, get ourselves even middle of the pack, which post the trade with Siakam, we were getting better defensively the second half of the season, at least by the numbers.
For sure.
April was a bit of a smaller sample set with only 7 games and was a little bit higher again, but this team looks like it's better, maybe a little bit better defensively. And we don't have to be a top 5 team. If we can show the offense that we had, which is a top 3 offense, and be middle of the pack defensively, then we're potentially a top 5 team in the league.
I mean, we showed last year that we can outscore anybody, and we can win a lot of games outscoring teams. But once we hit the playoffs, play a little bit of defense, I think that they're going to stay committed to that. I'm hoping. Maybe not every night, but if you've got Siakam, I think, is a leader on defense. And you're right. I mean, we're not asking you to be the 93 Bulls or the 04 Pistons or anything. I just need somebody to,
just don't be the Washington Wizards.
If you could be in the top half of the defense, the top 15, we can go a long way.
Well, and I will say, I watched that Charlotte game pretty closely, or at least the first half of it, and I thought the defensive effort was really good, especially from guys like Halliburton, who that's not his calling card by any means. But I think if he's out there, busting his butt and preventing dribble drive penetration, which is the thing that just breaks our defense down every time, is people get into the lane and then we're just scrambling, and we don't have enough good sort of defensive principles to sort of rotate correctly or whatever. We do have good rim defense, which saves us a lot, but I think stopping penetration at that point of attack, if we can do that, that's gonna certainly bump us up out of the 20s.
I think we were also last in points in the paint in the league. It was us in Washington by 5% higher than everybody else, which is not where you want to be. And you'd think with the kind of rim protection that we have, we'd be a little better than that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got a lot of length, so I'm with you. If we can just keep guys in front of us, then that's going to make a huge difference. And when your leader is out there making that effort, it's real hard for guys to kind of come up with an excuse to not match the effort level. So that's a great sign for us.
Harper, where Colson's made his bold prediction for the season. What was it again? That
Mathurin's going to be the leading scorer for the Pacers this upcoming season.
Harper, do you have a bold prediction?
Well, I thought Mathurin scoring 20 points a game off the bench was going to be a bold prediction. There was some one-upsmanship out there.
That's right. I'll see you one more.
Yeah. I think our bench scoring, being able to score 50 a game would be
so cool.
Would be incredible. The teams behind us. 2 years ago, it was the Spurs with less than 42 points a game, and nobody scored more than 44 last year. So if we, as a second unit, were able to put up 50 points a game, boy, that would certainly bode well for us. Mm-hmm. One thing that we saw last season, especially early in the year, I think we were a little bit worried about, kind of what our go-to play would be as a team and establishing our identity. But this team just kind of does everything well. I mean, when you look at what they do, there's not a lot of isolation. There's a lot of, dribble handoff, but it's really evenly balanced in the kind of plays that we run. And we're just kind of good at all of it. And with, a sort of balanced attack from the team and, that high level of consistency from our bench, I think we're a very dangerous team. So, 50 points a game. I know these guys can do
I love it.
But I might need all 22 for Mather to get
Well, I think, that really does take a lot of the heat off the starters who, at the end of the season, there's wear and tear, and we're hoping to have a very long season where we don't need, where we're going to need these guys, sometimes playing, 40-plus minutes a night when it's, Eastern Conference Finals, and that's what we're looking for, at least now. So I'd love to see it. Jason, what about you? Any hot takes or bold predictions?
How many points a game is Furphy going to get?
That's a good question.
Furphy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me smile inside so much that I didn't have to be the one to predict Mathurin to score 20 plus. The two other people did that. That's great. It takes a load off my shoulders. It's hard to come up with these bold predictions. I really like the way that Miles Turner is playing. I'm tempted to say that Miles Turner actually, let's see. Okay.
Second in DPOY?
Yeah, well, right. I would like to see him grab 8 rebounds a game. I don't think he's ever done that in his career.
No, he's never done that before.
he got 7 a game last year, and he's always been close. I think he could do it. I
mean,
my
with
bold
Siakam out there, like pulling some down now.
Yeah, but I think Siakam just lights a fire under him and says, "Go get those rebounds, big fella. Like you're too big not to get 2 a quarter. It's 2 a quarter, man.
Bigger and younger.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would make a huge difference for us as well.
Yeah.
That's obviously with fouls, defensive rating. I mean, how do you get to defensive rating, right? For us, it's points in the paint. We're kind of middle in the road on turnovers. There's probably room for improvement there. But keeping other teams off the line and just we gotta do a better job on the glass. It feels like we talk about it every year.
We will talk about it all year. We've just always a bad rebounding team since we've been maybe not when we started, but the last several years for sure.
but I mean, I really like where Turner is. Like he found a spot last year. After spending 6 years on the trade block or whatever it was, like. He became part of the most productive pick and roll combination in the NBA. You know what I mean? And he creates matchup problems for other teams because he can shoot it pretty well from deep, or at least keep people honest. I don't know if you guys have been watching the preseason games, but he's pulling like step backs out and like crazy post moves, and I mean his
passing has been great.
Super comfortable. His passing has been good?
His passing was like there was a stretch. It was I think the Charlotte game, but there was like a stretch of the game that he just kind of took over. He was just doing stuff on both ends of the floor, and was the engine on both sides. And so, we don't expect that at him out of for the whole game, but to have that there occasionally is wonderful.
Yeah, he looks super comfortable, and it's like clear. Obviously it's Halliburton and Siakam, but then it's like our third guy, like our big 3, quote unquote, which everybody tries to get, is Turner. He's that guy. Yeah. I'd like to see him keep blooming.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I always feel like he's like 35 just because he's been with us for so long.
Right?
But he's not. He's just now entering the prime of his career. He's still got a lot of room for growth, and I'm with you. Him being comfortable with his team and.
He was finally healthy all year last year.
Could be huge for us. He had some big games last year.
Yeah, and you just felt a lot more screaming at guys, and he just felt like there was an intensity. There was maybe is it the joie de vivre that there was more energy from him that I'd seen in a while. He had a great season last year, and if he can build on that,
I think we talked a lot last year about how we wanted to get our young guys playoff seasoning, and that we got that in spades in our playoff run last year. But I think one of the guys it underratedly helped the most was Miles Turner. Like he stepped up in those games. Like he and Siakam were the dudes that were unafraid in every game. And I think that hopefully triggered something within him that was like, I can do this. Like I've got this. Like,
confidence has always been such a big thing for him. It feels like, and he just seems so settled. Yeah, I like it. Big year for Miles.
What about you, Joey? What's your big, bold projection?
I was gonna try and fly under the radar and get skipped over, but I think that Halliburton and I think Siakam both are going to be all-stars.
Ooh,
this
okay.
year.
We got 2 all-stars.
Yeah, I think having 2 all-stars sounds about right. And the team's going to have to be successful. I mean, I think Halliburton, as long as he's healthy, should be no question. And then Siakam, if he's healthy and the team's successful, at a minimum, the coaches will bring him on because I think at this point he's not, the biggest name, but the people that, like coaches that understand what's going on, know what he can do for a team, and we've seen that. So I think we'll have 2, and I think we'll have. I guess I don't know how bold it is to see Halliburton again in the All NBA teams at the end of the year.
Yeah, at least second, maybe first team.
I guess that'd have to be. Yeah, what was he last year? He was 13.
Third.
Okay, so we'll bump it up a notch. We'll kick it up a notch. Bam. He's on the second team.
If he's second team All NBA, we're going to be a very good team.
Well, we were a very good team last year.
Yeah,
he's had time to rest and recover. We've shored up and solidified our lineup. I mean, I think we're all beating around the bush here. It's Furphy time, right, Colson?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we drafted Furphy second round, but I mean, I think a lot of people were talking about him going in the lottery, so it was just a steal for us. He joins a long, storied list of Kansas players, including our GM Kevin Pritchard. So we got a little Kansas pipeline right now. I think Furphy is primed and ready. There is I follow Furphy on the gram, and there's a nice video of him slamming on some dude, and it says the quote underneath it is, "It doesn't matter who jumps in the air, he's gonna dunk on you anyway."
So I'm not as familiar with his game as you are.
He's a 6'8" shooting guard. He played 1 year at Kansas. Numbers aren't really exciting.
And you mentioned he was Australian to me earlier. Is that right?
He is Australian. I believe he went to the Australian Institute of Sport for high school, which is nice. It sounds like he was going there for the right reasons. The Institute of Sport.
He's a student athlete, you're telling me.
Yeah. Or maybe just an athlete.
Okay.
I don't know what they teach at Institute of Sport.
All
except
of the sports.
Sport. All of sport?
He's multi-sport.
He's multi-sport.
Okay. And just some light research from me, looks like he was born in 1842.
Okay.
Moni Ponds, Victoria, Australia.
Okay.
So I'm just concerned about how they're going to work him into a modern offense, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is in the long tradition. A couple of years ago, the Pacers drafted Chris Duarte, who was already collecting
Old 8-track.
Pension checks.
Yeah. Can we teach Furphy the shot clock? That's really what it's going to be all about.
And just with ubiquitous electricity, I'm concerned.
Getting him to the stadium in a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Will they just be too terrified? Maybe we bring him in on a horse back, We just say, hey, look, so you're more comfortable.
Well, I mean, he's going to ride around in the Furphy cart,
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that around town. And,
Okay.
People can gather around, drink a little bit of water, make up stories.
Tell some Furphys.
Get a little Furphy out there.
So was the Furphy cart a water cart?
Water
Or
and
is it beer?
sanitation during World War One.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, he's been around for a while, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
1840 he was born.
Mm-hmm.
And then had the Furphy cart in World War One. So Furphy's a vampire.
That much seems clear.
Right.
Yeah, and people think he's 19 years old, because he doesn't age. But
Right.
Yeah.
That was when he was bit by the vampire in 1840. Yeah.
Or could be a Benjamin Button situation where
I see. Okay. So we're only going to have him for 19 seasons, and then he'll disappear into dust.
So if we've lost anybody listening at home, there's more than one Johnny Furphy from Australia, apparently.
And if you Google Johnny Furphy from Australia, you're going to get something.
And I think figuring out which thing is about which person is utterly confusing, especially since the first article I looked at had the takeaways and the facts about Johnny Furphy, the person born in 1842 and started a company providing water and building carts. Mm-hmm. And the picture is a picture of a 19-year-old basketball player.
I think you're going to say a 19-year-old with a water cart, because that's also probably what happened. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe a 12-year-old.
right. Yeah, 'cause it was 1840. Yeah, middle age was 19.
So Furphy's a blacksmith by trade. How is that going to help him in the league?
Well, he's hard working. He just puts his nose to the grindstone or the anvil, as it were, and
Is he going to be able to do anything with the rim that's helpful to him? To forge his own rim if Miles Turner, breaks one, then he can just make you a new rim like whenever you want.
Oh, I thought he was going to make one like especially kind to his own shot, sort of thing.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that, publicly, but yeah, of course.
I mean, does he do any cobbling? I mean, it'd be great if he could just do a little work at halftime on everybody's shoes. Get
Sure.
him back up to 100% for the second half.
Harper, I'm not sure they taught that at the Institute of Sport, but maybe they did.
That might be a Furphy. That might be an improbable story.
I mean, he is a hooper.
There you go.
Yeah, he's not a
My bold prediction is that Coulson is going to get the phrase "good, better, best." Never let it rest till your good is better and your better best. He's going to get that tattooed on his leg.
Is that a quote from Johnny Furphy?
Yes, it is. That was
It's like their motto.
Inscription. It was their inscription on all the carts that they built.
Pithy.
It's kind of a long motto. It's pithy. Would you read that to me one more time, Joe, so I can start? So I want to write. I'm going to write it in
your leg.
I'm going to write it in
I think you're
Sharpie
gonna need
right
both
now.
legs. I don't know.
Just to go to the tattoo shop tomorrow. So go ahead, Joey.
So it's good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better best.
Well, I like it.
And then you say, I don't care who's jumping, I'm dunking, I think.
That's right.
Oh man, I like it a lot. It's completely against my own life motto, which is sitting more.
Yeah. Well, it's pithy, I guess. So I guess we did talk about the players that most of the team is returning from this last season. Johnny Furphy is one of the new players.
Furphy.
Pacers did waive Kendall Brown and Cole Swider, so that we do have one open spot. Who else sort of further down the bench or one of the new players that do you guys have some expectations or hopes for this season? Colson, are you excited about? We didn't talk. I guess he's not quite as far down, but like Obi Toppin is one of those guys who really got to play a lot, and we re-signed him.
Yeah,
and
long term, but he's a part of the core going forward. He was fantastic for us last year. I did not expect much from him when we picked him up from New York, and I thought he was going to be an athlete, and he is that. He can dunk with the best of them, but also scrappy, plays defense. He was delightful for us, and I'm excited for him to, again, he's going to be a big off the bench for us, and can start in a pinch. So I'm not saying he's going to get 22 points a game off the bench, but
I'd just be crazy to predict someone getting 22 points a game off the bench.
Exactly. Who would do that?
And it'd be even crazier for two people to do that.
But he's going to be 26. He's just entering his prime. Last year he gave us 10, 4, and 2 assists with a half a block, a half a steal. I can see those numbers going up a little bit with some improved shooting, although he did shoot 40% from the range last year. Yeah. So I don't really, and almost 60% from the floor. So you know what? I think his numbers are going to go up with just a few more minutes a game. Maybe we'll get him a little more regular minutes after what he proved in the playoffs for us, and he'll be up closer to 25 minutes a game instead of 20. And as a franchise, I didn't think we were going to have the money to bring him back. I didn't necessarily think it was a priority because we've got, some depth at big, but this, franchise decided that was not the case, and I'm excited that they made that decision. So we found some money for him.
Yeah, I was also surprised we found money for him. I think a lot of what he does just doesn't really show up very well on the stat sheet, right? He's solid defensively, but one of the things that he does really well is just getting the crowd involved at home and shutting them right up on the road. He plays above the rim in a way that is just jaw-dropping at times, and he can really help swing momentum in a game with what he brings. And only guy on our team that was available all 82 last year. It's just having a guy who you can go to the well and we'll pick up extra minutes for you if you're battling injuries or foul trouble or whatever the case may be. Obi is ready to step in and soak up those minutes and perform well.
Jason, the last two guys that we've not really talked about much are, I think that we expect to get regular minutes, would be James Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson. Do you have any expectations for these guys this year? I mean, of course, Jackson has been on the team, but Wiseman is new.
We talked a little bit about Jackson proving himself as a guy that could get minutes in the playoffs, like down the stretch in important games. When the rotation tightened down to 8 guys, basically he was out there. So I expect him to fully come back and be integral to that second unit and sort of take, at least to begin with, the minutes that were going to Jalen Smith last year. Obviously, he brings a different skill set to the table. He can't stretch the floor like Jalen Smith did, but I mean, his level of activity on the glass and defensively is just, again, similar to Toppin. I think very energizing for the crowd. He makes a difference on both ends of the floor, I guess. So yeah, and then Wiseman, I mean, I don't know. He's a big dude. I mean, that's what I could take away from the preseason stuff that I watched. Like he's listed at 7 foot, but I mean he's a big dude. Like he's way bigger than Miles Turner. I don't know. He's had a very up and down, I guess, career thus far, and this is a good chance for him to learn how to be a journeyman big guy in the league. You know what I mean? And come in and be ready and do things the right way. And we'll see if he can do that. He can certainly rebound pretty well, so that should be good. I mean, he has a good pedigree, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, he was the number 1 draft pick overall. So, I mean, it was in the weird COVID year, so nobody knew anything about anybody. But yeah, let's see. I mean, his best season. Our best stint was he played half of the season in 22-23 with the Pistons and averaged 12 points and 8 rebounds in about 25 minutes. So that's not nothing, I guess. But I don't expect him to be getting lots of minutes to start.
Yeah. It's going to be real hard for guys who were not playing in the Eastern Conference Finals last year to break in and take minutes from anybody's from those really top 10 guys. I mean, even Jarris Walker is going to have trouble finding himself minutes, and he can be a really good player for us. But we've just got so much depth. You're going to have to earn it this year, which is a good problem to have.
Walker's my dude. He's like my project. I was a super big fan. We drafted him. He's just got a ton of skills. He can rebound. He can pass. He's just got such a great feel for the game. And I just don't know where we're going to find him minutes. I mean, in the preseason game against the Grizzlies, we played him 38 minutes. Because
we found him some minutes.
Yeah, I think, he produces in every category. He gives you points, he gives you rebounds, he gives you assists. But Isaiah Jackson, maybe he doesn't have the passing feel for the game, but he's a more versatile defender and a better rebounder. I don't know. It's going to be tough, stealing minutes from him. The same thing with Ben Shepherd. Like, I was so pleased with his rookie year, second round pick, and I want this kid to really succeed. But, with Mathurin coming back, is he going to lose minutes, or is Mathurin going to have to re-earn those minutes because he wasn't in that Eastern Conference final? This leads friend of the show, Mike Morrow, to predict that Ben Mathurin will be traded this season. That's his bold prediction. He texted me and said, I don't think there's room for him. Team will play too well without him, and he's too talented, so we're going to have to get something for him.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just going to ask you that question. If things aren't going well, are the Pacers going to be active at the trade deadline and trade some of this glut of talent that they have for maybe somebody that's an unhappy whatever it is, whoever needs a new situation, right?
I would say if things are going not well, and if things are going well. I mean, I think that there's some precedent for a team that's showing some promise, and if the leadership thinks that one more piece would get them to another level, we've got plenty of young guys and a lot of depth to go out and get a significant piece for this team. I think that whether things are going poorly or well, there's a chance that that's going to happen. I mean, we've Harper talked about it. We have the best bench in the NBA. This 10-man road is solid, but we also have 3 or 4 guys that are going to be squeezed out, So do you want to turn that into an 8-man road by, giving some of those things away for, another big piece? I don't know. I think either way, this trade deadline is going to be interesting for us.
Well, our phones will definitely be ringing either way because people are going to want some of what we got. And as much fun as it is as a fan to have 11 guys on the roster that you just love and want to see play every night, it's not necessarily maximizing your payroll, right? I mean, or maximizing your minutes. Like, you really do want 8 better players than the talent more spread out because of the way the NBA works. You can only have 5 guys on the floor, right? So,
Right.
I think somebody's going to have to make a really good offer to pry our talent away from us because we're so happy with the way it's developing, and we worked hard to keep this group together. But, yeah, the phone will be ringing.
So that brings us to, what's your biggest worry for the season? Is that it? That the Pacers will make some drastic move to try to position themselves for a longer playoff run, but potentially muck with what is, by all accounts, amazing chemistry in this locker room?
Yeah. I mean, of course, my first fear is always injury because it just sucks. But besides injury, no. I really do trust our management team to make good decisions there. I've been super happy with the Siakam trade. That was a big swing, but early returns are super great on it. We've done great in the draft over the past several years. Nembhard and Ben Shepherd are just incredibly mature players that we got at advantageous places in the draft. So I trust them. I worry more than anything that our defense doesn't improve, right? It's just, it feels like really low-hanging fruit. It's something that we should be able to do better with the athleticism and the length that we have on this team. But it does require commitment night in and night out. And without it, we will hit a ceiling.
Yeah, that kind of ties into my biggest worry, which is, it's a young team and we got an early taste of success. And do we rest on our laurels a bit?
Yeah.
Do we presume that life is going to be easy in the NBA, which it never is? And, we're not bringing our hard hat to the gym every night and doing the little things. My fears there are a bit assuaged by the caliber of dudes that we have and the types of players that we have. Like, TJ McConnell is not going to allow that to happen on any night, basically.
I don't know that he has laurels, right?
No, I don't think he does.
He had his removed.
Surgically removed, yeah.
Yeah. And, I feel like, Siakam is a similar kind of way. He's wired a similar way. Like, he just brings it every night. Halliburton, I don't see that either. He just has a joy of playing basketball that he's going to get into it. You got, friend of the show, Connie, who got me riled up on Slack saying that Mathurin has Pat Bev energy. but she meant it in a good way. That he's always like just talking shit to everybody. Like, did you guys watch the Memphis preseason game at all? When he was like talking shit to Desmond Bain basically because he started that night. It just got Desmond Bain super mad and was like, and then Desmond Bain like ate his lunch, but it was, it just reminded me of like how competitive this dude is, like because he, you know, what was it in the Rising Stars challenge when he's just talking shit to Jaden Ivey like the entire game?
Right. Ivy's like, what did I do?
Anywho, yeah. So we have those caliber of players. So I don't worry about it too much, but you know, the other nice thing is that everybody else in the Eastern Conference made a bunch of moves. Like everybody's salivating over New York and Philadelphia, and if you look at the preseason predictions, very few people have us in the top 6 in the East.
Isn't that nice? Thank you.
Which is outrageous to me, but like great.
It's a win.
There's some bulletin board material.
Such a win. It's one of the advantages of being a small market team, right? It's just like no one is going to jump on our bandwagon every offseason to boost the egos, right? So
Yeah, the last time we got real press was when the team blew up afterwards, after a photo shoot.
What was it? Those for Spin magazine?
Yeah, something like that. So, Joey, you said you're going to the home opener. Have you taught Waywin to boo Paul George yet?
You know, I think that, I mean, it should be somewhere in his DNA, right?
yeah, I feel like it
just
is, yeah.
it came through your sperm. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know that I said that directly.
No, there's been a lot of work on epigenetics lately, and I think that those kind of marks are made. So.
For generations. Cool. Is this what you guys do all day, Jason, at your jobs?
I mean, speculate wildly if that's what you mean. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess we the season's starting, right? So
we've got actual basketball.
We got basketball.
Actual non-preseason basketball that we're going to be watching here.
Yeah,
Coming
we do. Wednesday, season starts at Detroit.
Dub.
Then Friday, big Eastern Conference semifinal rematch with the New York Knickerbockers at New York. That game is on ESPN.
Yeah, against the New Look Knicks.
And then the aforementioned home opener Sunday versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That's a 3:30 tip. So
Set your alarm.
Why I can go.
Is Waywin still available for baby races, or is that?
Oh, he would crush.
yeah, he aged out.
He's twice as big as the babies.
Probably bigger than that, and he's probably can follow directions well enough to cheat at this point.
Yeah. If you just get the Spidey watch at the end of the lane.
I mean, that's kind of all you need. He will get there. He will get there. My biggest concern is that we've actually got a, normally that's right around his nap time, and we've got a birthday party to go to before that, and then heading right to the basketball game, skipping the nap. And so I don't know what's the right amount of coffee or Red Bull you give a kid that size, but
or just give him a beer and let him sleep it through the game. That's the bartender suggestion.
I appreciate your suggestion. I will take it into consideration.
Whiskey on the gums.
That's right. Well, he's got teeth now, so.
Oh, yeah. When did he get teeth? When did that happen?
It's been a while, dude. Been a while. He's still like in the upper 95th percentile in height. So, what we did do is we started the basketball. There's a basketball workshop, and we've been taking him there. So he can now dribble the ball a couple times, which was pretty impressive for just the hand-eye coordination. But the problem is they have a low basket, but it's not low enough that he can make a basket. So we're working through that problem right now. So we're going to bring a more appropriately sized basketball for him next week, and hopefully that will fix the problem.
I mean, he doesn't care who jumps. He's getting his dunks.
That's what That's what he says to me.
Yeah.
Good, better,
That's what
best.
he always says to me. Yeah.
Right.
He keeps... Yeah, he's like, make your better, best, and...
He's a big Furphy
Oh,
fan.
Yeah. Like, tonight was weird, too.
Fanatic.
I put him to... I put him to bed. I said, I love you, son. And he said, I love you, Furphy. I don't know what that means, but what are you going to do?
Sure.
All right, team. Well, we're going to get out of here and finish getting ready for the season. It's upcoming here just in a very few days. Everybody around the league is getting ramped up here soon, so we get a lot of NBA basketball we get to watch. Until then, you can hit us up on the internet. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website is theundebeatables.com, and there's a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message and email. Shout out at theundebeatables.com, and at our store is where the merch lives.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sickleonard. Turn out the lights. The season's starting. I guess you should probably turn the lights on, maybe, for that.
Turn on the lights, maybe.
Turn on the lights. The season's starting.
We'll put that in the notes for the 25-26 season for you.
This is actually John from the future. And
There's a lot more time
So
travel in
much
this
time
episode
travel.
than normal.
It's a Rick and Morty episode.
And what do we even get from it?
I won a bunch of money on the WNBA finals.
Oh, okay. Here's the good news, is you can do that on any sporting event. And some weirdo parlays, too. You just don't want to be too obvious about it, because eventually the feds just show up.
The time cops.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's when I go back into my other time.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can keep doing this. Okay.
Yeah. I'll be
Until
here every
you're-
week from the future.
Until you're hanging out with a young Johnny Furphy in 1894.
Well, a young Johnny Furphy would be far into the future, right?
That's right. In 19 years, he'll be dust. So I've got to catch him before that.
Coulson, that reminds me, I read this sci-fi book, and that was like how the guys, some of the main characters got away. They had done some stuff that was like, there were some misunderstandings, and it looked like they had done some things, and so they were just trying to escape, and they were traveling essentially at the speed of light for so long that their time
Dilation.
the time dilation for the rest of the for them and the rest of the universe made enough difference to where they were essentially the people that were looking for them
Gave
would
up.
never be able to they would never be able to find them because
The statute of limitations was those other people's lifespan, right?
yeah, I mean they eventually those people would all be gone
Yeah.
and maybe the governments would fall if you're doing it long enough. So Coulson, add that to your list.
I'm on it.
Commit time crimes. And I want in.
Okay.
I think that was another Johnny Furphy saying, was commit the crime and don't do the time, because travel to make a rhyme.
So he's not going to get a lot of fouls called on him, right?
No.
Because of the time travel? Yeah, probably not.
Because he doesn't do the time.
Okay. So when he goes, when he doesn't commit fouls, is that a Furphy? Like McConnell gets a steal, we call it a McConnell. So every time Furphy doesn't foul, is it a Furphy?
Well, all of Furphy's fouls aren't fouls. So, yeah, they're definitely Furphys.
Every time he's on the court, he's just committing a Furphy? Because he's not committing a foul?
Well, if he does, I was saying if he does get whistled, that's a Furphy.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
But
makes
that
sense.
shouldn't happen.
Right.
Right.
If time travel works the way it should.
Exactly.
You've studied this, right, Jason? You know how it works. That's what you guys do at the lab?
Yep.
Mostly time travel.
Mostly figuring out how Furphy is still alive.
Isn't that
You would be
Furphys a-
surprised how much the NIH spends to try to figure this out. For an Australian citizen, no less. This is why we have to disassemble the administrative state, you know? It's just a bunch of nonsense.
Is this why FEMA's out of money? Is that what's going on?
Right.
All that
Yeah,
money on
Furphy.
Furphy time travel?
It's Furphys all the way down.
There's the name of the show.